All right, let's give everyone maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we'll dive into this awesome conversation with Steve. Um, yeah, Steve, you're in Vegas now.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, I had a show last night at Hakkathon. Really great show. Um, Back at home. This is my home turf.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so, yeah. I live out here. I live out here in Vegas. From LA. LA is was a really great place for me to develop my career as a artist, producer, DJ, all that stuff. But yeah, I love being in Vegas. I just love it. I love being in. I'm like deep in the suburb inside my home. My home has got it's pretty much like everything I need. It was perfect during quarantine because I just like have I have my gym in here. I got my studio in here. I got you know my gaming unit here. I got like content areas, um, my old fashion area like for to design clothes. Tons of stuff. Big toys. Like I have toys everywhere. This is a very fun house. Call it Aoki's Playhouse.
That's awesome. So question, like you're involved in so many different things. I mean, you have obviously everything you do with music, producing, fashion. I mean, I mean, the way you move culture, obviously the things you're doing in the NFT and the Web3 space. Like, how do you? And then there's so much more. I mean, you're a multifaceted entrepreneur. So how do you keep it all straight, and how are you able to do so many things at once?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and that requires just an exceptional number of teams. Um, there's no way I could do it alone. I think my whole life has all been about collaboration, about working with uh, like-minded people, um, some of which we learn together and we grow together, and some of which are already experts in their field. And like the hardest part is finding those people so you can develop in these different areas. But and in some cases, like that's where um, you have to just work on where you work with other people that have the same passion. You kind of grow with them, um, just like Web3. I mean, like what we're talking about right now in this whole space, it's very young, it's very early, um, but no one has years and years of experience because there isn't years of experience. It's like really like months and months of experience. I mean, you might have some levels of crypto understanding, but when it comes to Web3, it's like we're all kind of you know throwing darts at the board, seeing which one actually works, which one services our communities the best, so that we all feel like you know we're in it together, that we're actually gaining together, growing together, and eventually building out something that the whole world's going to be jumping in on.
Totally. So let's talk about your journey in sort of NFTs and Web3. So, I mean, you got sort of you started to go deep down the rabbit hole last year, and you've done a number of drops. So tell us about your journey, and what are some of the key learnings you have so far from your journey in Web3 and NFTs?
Yeah, I got into NFTs, like the idea to even create one, um, summer of 2020, and this is like at the height of COVID. So the amount of time that I had to work on other projects outside of music and touring and just DJing, that whole lifestyle, I just had so much time. So the collector side in me really grew out because I'm a big time collector, just in general. Like if you come to my house, I have a whole room of shoes. I have a whole room of vinyl and books. I have a like pretty massive card collection. TCG, Pokemon. I founded a TCG company uh, called MetaZoo that's actually doing really, really well. I'm big into sports cards. I'm big into like collectibles and tickets now. I'm buying like tickets, like the first time Shohei Ohtani hit a home run. I just spent like 3 grand on that like ticket that people throw away in the trash. So like, there's like certain things I just care so much about, and I really got to just dive deep in that space. And it was a perfect time for me to get into NFTs. But strangely enough, when I got into NFTs at that, when I started like venturing into that world, I didn't even look at it like a collectible or um, digital art so much. I looked at it more like uh, another layer to my musical offering to the world. Like, what can I do to do something uh, different? What can I do to like add another layer to my musical programming, scheduling, archive, releases, and I was like, wow, this is really interesting to make music and also still be creative because I'm outside of music. I'm like designing clothes. Um, I'm doing different kinds of art. So being able to work with a digital artist at that level, Anthony Disco for the first collection we dropped in February to build out what character X is, which was based on my logo, and then build out the whole world with him and make music around that was just incredible. I looked at it almost like on the music side, like scoring a scene in a film. Like what should that feel like? How's that going to play out? And then helping direct what the scene looks like. Um, as far as a creative outlet, it was incredible. And then I got into the collectible side later on. And it's clear. If you look at my wallet, I go in pretty hard. Like I definitely pivoted outside of physical collectibles into digital collectibles just because of the nature of the fact that it's it's just like I only have so much wall space. I have tons of art in my house. I only have so much. Yeah, like with cards, like there's only so much. Like I vault all my cards, so like in many ways, like I don't even see the cards. They're like literally like an NFT because they're like sitting in a vault somewhere that is not near me. So I have like pictures of them. They exist, but they're like it's literally like an NFT. And then when I started getting the NFTs, I'm like, oh wow, like I would just ape into so many projects because I love the art or I love I see like 10 of my friends getting in on something. I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. Um, Obviously, there's like the investor angle too. Like, okay, this is gonna go up. If I get a couple, I could flip one or two, get my cost basis back, and you have that side of the angle too that plays into it. Um, but the my biggest problem in on that side is I'm a premium bag holder. Like I just very rarely sell. Of course, I sell some of the stuff, but uh,
Yeah.
I'm just like I've sold maybe like a dozen things, and I have like over 1,000 NFTs. So um, yeah, I just believe in the long term. I call it the season of acquisition. I really believe that Web 3.0 we're starting, but we're still very much in the pregame. We're like in the preseason. Like we haven't even begun to utilize what Web 3.0 looks like. What does a Roblox world look like where you own everything? You know, what does gaming look like where you own you own the skins, you own the player, you own this, you own that. We haven't even begun to like we can imagine what it looks like. We can imagine what the metaverse amusement park looks like, what the metaverse Aoki's playhouse looks like, what Sandbox will look like, what all these different things will look like. We're imagining that now, and it's getting us very excited, which is why, you know, people like myself and a lot of people in this chat are spending a lot of money in buying land, buying NFTs, um, for that purpose. Of course, there's like plenty of people in here that are flipping, like, okay, floor moved, let's sell. That's not really my approach. I do like getting my cost basis back. Yes, I think it's important.
Of course.
But then when if I was to kind of negotiate, what's more important, cost basis back or like believing in a project, under like and thinking and imagining what the possibilities are with this project. And I mean, because that's what's important is that like you have to like you can't believe in all the projects, right? Like some of the projects are like like very prospect driven and potentially a flip driven, and then some projects are long term, right? And like with Bored Apes, I remember I flipped one. I bought four Bored Apes when the floor was 6 ETH. Bought one at six. And 3 days later, it went to 12 ETH. This is like end of July, 2021. Um, and my manager's like, you should sell one. Like you can make one ape back. And so I sold it based on his advice. And then it like 2 days later went to 18 ETH or 3 days later, whatever. And then,
Right.
and then he's like, sell another. I'm like, no, leave me alone, go away. Like I'm fucking in, like, and I never sold, and I just kept buying. I bought more at I think I bought more at 45 ETH and 50 ETH and 60 ETH and 70 ETH. I just kept buying because I believe in this long term vision of where we're going to go, what we can do. We can build on the IPs.
Well,
Um,
the math is on your side. I mean, there are 4.6 billion internet connected people on the planet, and there's only about something like 110 or 120 million wallets, crypto wallets with any form of balance. So, you're thinking that this is like the pregame, the first inning. I think it's spot on. I mean, it's early days. I mean, it's so early.
I
I have a
can't.
I have a
Yeah,
quick
but,
follow up question to that, Steve.
yeah,
What I heard you talking about the importance of the founders of a project, like the people
yeah.
who are behind a project, and as you were talking about some of these projects, I'd love for you to expound on what that means. Like, what do you look for in like the people who are behind projects, not
Okay,
just the
so
project
yeah.
itself?
So as a collector, yes, it's important. Long term, it's about the founders. Long term, definitely it's about the founders. It's not about like how beautiful the art is or how like the art makes you feel a certain way. You sometimes get like lost in that, like, oh my God, this shit looks so fucking good, but like, what is the plan? Like, and I don't necessarily need to know the roadmap all the way through. I'm not looking for that. I'm just like looking at just like at anything that you invest into your time, whatever it might be, money, all that stuff. You want to look at like what are the founders, have they done in the past? Like it matters to me that they collect. I remember my first collection when I dropped it, like one of the main questions in Clubhouse when I dropped Dreamcatcher was like, have you bought any NFTs? I'm like, no, not yet. Like I'm going to, but I don't know. I'm like still new at the space. A year later, my wallet's like it's over exceedingly full. Like, I'm not saying I'm just saying like I'm a collector, so and I'm also a long term holder. But uh, yeah, it matters that I know that the founders are invested, that they believe. If they're like me and they believe in long term vision, then I'm in. Like I go for like I know I believe in myself. Like I'm long term. Like I'm in this for wherever we go with Web3, I'm going. I'm already there. I'm like moving forward. This is not like I'm jumping in and jumping out, and I'm like I never actually left crypto. When I invested in crypto in 2018, I never actually took money out to cash.
Yeah,
I'm a believer in the space. If it dips, I don't even care. I don't care if ETH goes down to 2, it's gonna go back up. Like
100%.
of course I care, but like, you know, I mean I bought in at 450, and like I'm still buying. I bought at 4,000 or whatever, 3,500. I
Yeah.
I still buy more. Like when they're like, oh my God, you bought at the top. I'm like, we're like we still have so much more growth. I'm already so much of a believer. It's like a religion. Like I believe in the future of this whole space. I believe that this is where we're all gonna end up. And very similar to what Gary Vee talks about the internet boom 20 years ago, and where I remember those like you see like the talk show guys and people talking about the internet, like, oh, I don't know about this internet thing, man. Like I just like I needed like real time stuff. Like just I don't know how long it's gonna last. I don't know if it's like a fad. Like I really believe that this is like we're going there. It's exactly the same kind of paradigm shift that was happening 20 years ago that's happening now. And and the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs and the people that start creating, and I always say this, create quality service in that space and you will last.
100%.
You have to create not just service, you have to create quality service, like things that people not just, and I also think it's not just what people expect of you, it's what that they wouldn't expect. And then you surprise them and you add more value. It's not just about what they like. Okay, I'm Steve Aoki. I'm a producer. So yeah, they expect me to throw a cake in their face. Yeah, I mean, if I could, I will. Okay, but there's more to just the cake. There's more to just the music. There's more to just the merchandise. There will be other things that will. My goal is to constantly do things that you wouldn't expect. And I personally, I really feel like I'm that kind of person, just based on my collaborations. If you go down my past trail of the collaborations I've done, from K-pop to Latin music, from doing a song with a scientist like Bill Nye to just like I really try to think about different ways to entertain, to engage, to educate, to also be a student and learn and also share, and just constantly offer a dynamic variety of ways for people to engage. But yeah, it's exciting. Just to like kind of stop the digression, but it's really exciting to build this space out and we should go dive right into it, but like this whole idea of this exclusive community membership where all of it, where all the different collaborations, partnerships, companies, people, like all of that, to bring them into this journey moving forward.
Yeah. So Steve,
Yeah.
to dive in. Okay. So first of all, I couldn't agree more with just like surprising and delighting, right? And having seen you, having had the opportunity to see you perform and listen to a lot of your catalog. I mean, that's just like a core part of your DNA, like without question. So now you've done a number of amazing NFT drops throughout last year, and now you're at the dawn of this sort of this new adventure, this incredibly expansive vision that you have for the Aokiverse. So maybe, yeah, I'd love to hear from you, like, what does the Aokiverse mean to you, and what, when someone participates. So the Aokiverse is this incredible new drop that Steve is doing, and we're giving yacht creators who've minted their yachts access to be able to participate in essentially a pre-sale for memberships to the Aokiverse. So we have details about that you can see on our Twitter, and we have information here on our Discord, of course. But Steve, what is the Aokiverse, and what does it mean if you're a fan or someone who's like really connected to you and really loves everything that you do?
Okay, Aokiverse, in short, is exclusive community membership. I mean, that's the foundation. Before, obviously everyone's dropping PFPs, and that's like the go-to because it's like what people talk about, what people want to put in their profiles on Instagram, Twitter, whatnot. Of course, that was a conversation topic, but I think we're like, we got to do something more encompassing. That, I mean, because like the thing is I have such a very large, wide network, so it's not just about the kind of access you get to my life or the music or to the experiences that I can share at my shows or in the studio or all the different like meta and real world access points. It's more about the network. And that's why we really started thinking about what can we do, and to really encompass all these different inspiration points that I've been a part of, or I've seen, or I've been a part of by collecting in those spaces, or just because they're my friends or people that inspired me. So we've kind of taken like bits and pieces, and definitely given shine to these incredible creators that have already been doing it, like Pac, just being such a genius in the space as a group, or I'm not sure, if it's a group or what, but Pac as an entity, what they're doing on, starting with pages and going into poets and then developing that further. That's really a big inspiration point to what the Passport is. It's an NFT that grows with you. You get your credit, you get your aokiverse membership credit, which opens you up into a passport, and then that levels up. Okay,
Right.
so that's the basis there. Yeah.
So totally. So okay. So let's just talk about community for a second, because community means a lot to you. I mean, you've been building community since the very beginning. Since the beginning of your career, from when you started DimMac and now. So I'm just curious, like, what does community mean to you, and how does it relate to your past with DimMac and the other brands you've created and entrepreneurial activities you've participated in, and then obviously now what you're doing with aokiverse?
I think what's happening right now in Web3, also, also because of the fact that we were on like this crazy ass lockdown where it was very normal for us to be communicating and socializing and grouping in, with cameras in our homes and zooming in, and like that's just a very normal thing now. Okay, so like if without COVID, we wouldn't. I don't know if Web3 at this level of building community and Discord groups would be as healthy and strong. But what I've seen, what I've seen now with these kinds of groups, when you go into these spaces, it feels the same way that I felt when I was a kid when I found punk and hardcore. The same kind of feeling of like stepping into an area in a space where you have really passionate, devoted people that care about their world, that you'll do whatever you can to help it grow. And as a kid, to get your social points, okay, it's like, you're talking about gamification, like get your social points, to make friends, to get respect, your respect points in your little social circle, in social circle, you had to contribute. It wasn't about like riding in on your like really shiny bike or like walking in with your expensive ass shoes or whatever it was. It was more about like, hey guys, I just learned how to play guitar. I want to start a band with some people in here, and I'll teach you. We can start a band so we can play the music. Hey guys, I was at Kinko's and like I started making a zine, and here's some of my poetry, and here's some interviews I did of the bands I saw at the show. Or hey guys, I found a space where we can do shows and like help out bands perform in here, and so that like the 15 people can go see them. Like that's like how you got your points, and that's I learned like headstrong at that early age of like 15, 16, and that's when I learned how to like write music, play music, record music, put on shows, start a zine, start a label with zero money. Like all these things were happening around that time where it's like the community needs each and every one of you to actually contribute. You are a creator without even calling yourself a creator, and I really feel like this is like the world now in these Discord groups and these chats. We're all collectors and creators. We all have the ability to create and collect, and the barrier of entry to create is more realistic in this space than in fine art or than in music even per se. I'd say it's like a different space altogether. It's really exciting for that, and I think the passion is really where it defies a lot of other communities that I've seen, that I've been part of. Like, I'm passionately part of electronic music. This is my life, my life's blood. Okay. I don't have a Discord group with DJs. I don't have a WhatsApp group where I talk to DJs about tracks. We just make our own tracks, we drop them, and then we support each other, right? That's like kind of like how we communicate our support structure. In Web3, in NFTs, and all this, like half the people that I'm talking to are DJs, and we're talking about what the drops are, what's exciting on the horizon, what the alpha is, what we're working on, and how we can support each other and help each other. But it's not even about our tracks.
Totally.
You know, it's just it's bringing in so many different kinds of people into this space, which I think is so healthy when you have such a variety of different kinds of influences. And
Totally.
you know, because and we talked about this too, Naveen, like where, you know, like the flippers versus the bag holders, like flippers can like really manipulate the floor, and it sucks, but you know, it's like you need it all. You need all of it.
Of course.
You know, like,
yeah, there are many dimensions to the market, of
right.
course.
And then and many reasons why people are buying it. It's not just for the investment or, you know, trying to make the quick buck, but like, you know, like the long-term vision people like myself, or people that just love the art. And like I talk to some people like, I just love the art. I really, if it goes down, it doesn't bother me because I love this piece.
Yeah.
And it's the same, it's the same thing that like certain pieces on my walls here in my house. There's like, I have like a Damien Hirst on the wall right next to it. Another piece I'm staring at right now, where there is no market values. If I was to sell it in an auction, it'd probably be like $100. But to me, it's priceless. You know, so
let's talk about that for 1 second. So the way you've built the Aokiverse is there are these different levels of passport, and so the way it's going to work is starting on February 12th, yacht creators who've minted a yacht will be able to participate in a very special pre-sale opportunity before sort of the public mint, where they'll be able to buy credits, and then they'll be able to burn those credits and turn them into passports. And so one thing you mentioned is this emotional connection that you have with, you know, art and with, you know, things that you've collected. Well, I think the same is true for people's relationship with you as an artist, right? So like the Aokiverse is really, to me, kind of about that. It's like, okay, if I'm going to get a passport, like I'm obviously going to participate in this, and I'm so excited to. And I'm looking at all the different tiers of passport going, oh my gosh, this is really incredible, because it enables me to have a deeper emotional connection to everything you are doing. So how does that make you feel, like being able to create a world where your fans, people who are passionate about the things that you create, can have that sort of deeper connection to you?
I'm so happy that I'm able to create a world where this exists. Like I haven't been able to do this, and it's incredible because it's like one thing to, like, you know, yes, I like to give access to fans, for them to come to my house or to do some sort of activity with me here, or things like that, or come to my shows, or like get to experience it, you know, right behind me in the DJ booth, or whatever those kinds of experiences are. But there, like for me personally, there's so much more to offer than just that. There's like, you know, just to me, it's like the friends and family network of what the Aokiverse is. Like the multiverse, what the Aokiverse will become is a multiverse. It's starting here, but we have a long plan of including, you know, just like with you, Naveen, like we're definitely talking about different ways that we're going to be working together in the future, on where yacht holders are going to be able to access Aokiverse in a way that's exclusive to what we're doing. There's going to be a really great partnerships like that. And, you know, in the past year, that's what we've been culminating is building all these different kinds of relationships with, you know, great NFT project founders and creators, to be able to build that out and make it really special, exclusive, something that like we can all grow. It'll constantly grow and evolve.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's one thing. And again, that gets back to something, you know, you were talking about earlier, just the whole entire concept of surprising and delighting. I mean, so there's the current definition of the Aokiverse, which, you know, we understand now as people who are fans of yours and people who are part of your incredible community. But as you just pointed out, I mean, it's really just scratching the surface. Like this is the beginning. This is like the pregame. This is the first inning of you know, this connection that people are going to have to you, like far beyond whatever, you know, the website says. today. And a little bit of alpha, a little birdie told me that for some of the higher, like I think the highest level passport holders, actually, is it true they get to create an original song with you?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty exciting for sure. We get to work in the studio together and make a record, and it'll be, Steve Aoki and Naveen, you know, yeah, the Yat anthem, like it'll be out on Spotify and we'll be playing at all the festivals,
Oh my
Uh,
God.
Naveen will jump on stage with me and we can rock this out at Ultra.
Oh
Um,
my God.
yeah,
That's
and
that's
then yeah, let's start the career of a musical career for someone out there.
that's incredible.
Yeah, you never
Okay.
know what's out there. It's plus like the exciting thing about studio life and just like the kind of people that just show up. Sometimes it's just like I'll be working in the studio and then another kind of artist pops through, and you never know what kind of multi kind of collaborations just happen. So it's I love the music. The music world is definitely fluid like that. Things just, when you have something magical happening, whatever it is, the magic in the room starts spreading out, and all of a sudden it just, it ends up becoming this insane thing. But
Totally.
yeah, that's definitely one thing. I think another really cool, interesting thing to discuss on the passport is that what I love about this is the same thing that I wish I could have done in the past, like where I collect my ticket stubs, like of my
Right.
favorite shows.
Yeah.
I still have my ticket stubs and the flyers of shows I went to when I was a kid. Like they're still in like a scrapbook. Like, oh my God, like look how cool this flyer was. I was at that show. I love being able to document that stuff. And if you're a collector like me, this is really important. And I have stuff that I wasn't even at, but I spent serious money on just to say like this was like Kobe Bryant's last basketball game, like this or whatever it might be. It's part of history that's like meaningful.
Yeah.
And maybe to someone else it's just a piece of cardboard and they throw it away. For people like me, it's like cherished treasure,
Totally.
and to document that. I remember like I said this same story. Like I've had so many different bands play in my living room when I was in college. I had At the Drive-In. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but like at the Drive-In,
Of
they
course.
played in my living room to 30 people.
That's amazing.
And like those 30 people, imagine if they had the passport and they could be on chain like I was at the show and it's permanently in part of your history, you
Yeah.
know. It's just like such like cool memories. It's just the same. It's like the same thing. I explained this before. Like you see someone that walking around with like 10 wristbands on his arm, and they just won't take it off because they're like every single year they went to Ultra. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a badge of honor. I mean, I remember, we all have these experiences. It's like combination your personal journey, combination like history and being a historian and being someone who's like a part of culture. Like for me, my favorite band is Rage Against the Machine, as most people in the yacht community know. And the first time I got to see Rage was at Tibetan Freedom Concert
wow.
at Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. So I actually have the serigraphs for day one and day two in my downstairs office from that show, just because it just meant so much to me. It was like such an important part of my life. And to your point, like it's just a piece of cardboard or pieces of cardboard to somebody else, but to me, it's totally priceless.
I have my ticket stub for the time I saw Rage Against the Machine, 1996. I still
Oh my
have
God.
still have it in the scrapbook. I gotta find that, but like I remember seeing this. It was all like beaten up. I'm like, holy shit, this brought me to the grave. So it's just like for people like for me, like that was a big deal. So when we're talking to the dev team about all this, it's like how crucial it is to be able to have these moments of history part of the passport. As stamps and something that you can collect and you can grow in your NFT. And there'll be different ways how that does have a leveling up. We don't have that yet, but it's definitely something that are on our top of mind of how we can micro level within the levels with, if you go to like all the shows at this period of time, some sort of leveling does occur. I'm definitely speaking a little bit too forward on what the plans are, but there's so many plans on what we're going to be doing, what kind of offerings that we'll be putting into the membership. Some exciting, actually, like one thing I didn't actually talk about is there's going to be some giveaways as well. I'm not going to discuss it too much here, but when we do discuss it, it's going to be something. It's going to be people are going to be really, really hyped on.
I mean, look, it gets back to what you said earlier too, just about surprising and delighting. So like TLDR on aokiverse, because then I know you have limited time, so we want to talk to you a little bit about Yat, and then we have some questions from the audience too. So the TLDR on aokiverse this is your opportunity to go on a journey with Steve and be a part of this like incredibly diverse community with Steve and participate on many, many dimensions, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, whether it's the shows, whether it's his record company, whether it's NFT drops, all of the above, his relationships with partners, including us at Yacht Labs, but so many others. It's basically an opportunity to be a part of this community with Steve across all of these dimensions and more. And the thing that's just incredible about it to me is how expansive the vision is, because as a founder myself, I'm just really just like beyond excited about how ambitious your vision is, and then the level of thought and attention to detail you've put into it, right? So you've put so much effort into thinking about all the details. What does it mean for someone with your live experience? What does it mean for someone with regards to NFTs you drop in the future? What does it mean for someone with regards to fashion? So for those of you here who are listening, those of you in the Yacht community, definitely recommend you check out Steve's drop for aokiverse. And again, so February 12th, yacht creators who've minted their yachts will have sort of like super duper exclusive access to be able to mint these credits that you can then turn into passports for the aokiverse. So
one bit of alpha I like to share as well is like the NFTs, that the Aoki NFTs that people are able to get extra credits from, they will have utility for future NFTs. So I'm just going to put that out there. So because I know people are getting their credits and then flipping them, which is fine. Do whatever you feel like, what you like to do. But there will be others that that like in our space that we're going to be doing that will have a utility for that. So
100%. Okay, cool. So really quick. So Steve, you have this incredibly iconic yacht. You are Cake Music. So just curious, like, what makes you excited about yacht, and what makes you excited about being Cake Music?
Well, I mean, like I remember when we were talking about figuring out what is the most definitive, yacht emojis that are me. It's clearly those two. So I had to take that before someone else took it, and I'm glad that I was able to secure that, because it's when you think of Steve Aoki, those are like two like iconic image that you would imagine. So no, it makes sense. I have it. I'm glad I have it, and it's something that I think is as yachts become more mainstream, and once everyone starts using yachts, which they will, then it's just going to be easy to find me with my emojis or my yachts.
100%. So now I know you got to go pretty soon. So we have just a couple questions for you from members of the yacht community. So this question is from, let's see, circa 3024 on Twitter. So if there was only one reason you could give us why one should want to be a part of the aokiverse, what would it be?
Well, one is like if you get caked in the face, I think it's definitely something that needs to happen. I always say needs to happen at least one time in your life if it hasn't already happened, but it definitely needs to happen from me. Okay, so if we can find a way for me to do that, I, of course, I'm going to be making sure that the members, if I have the possibility, if you see me and you happen to be an Aokiverse member, and you bring a nice looking cake, I will cake you on the spot. I'll find a way to do that.
That's awesome.
I mean, it is very like I am definitely saying this. I haven't announced that yet, but I'm just thinking like there's so many. There's not just one. There's just so many different uh, utilities that are involved in being part of the membership community. One is it's gonna be a very diverse community because I really feel like the Aokiverse is the center of an incredible amount of different other communities, and they're all joining in. So it's going to be a very healthy membership, and I love that. I love diverse, dynamic memberships with all different kinds of interests and people that are coming to space, and like I said, this is just the start. There's so many offerings and so many allow lists to different projects that we're going to be part of, and the real world utility is already incredible. The meta utility is already incredible. What we're going to be doing in Sandbox is also a big opening of something very interesting that you have to be part of the membership to. So yeah, the list goes on and on and on.
100%. So, okay, so next question. So, you're legendary for playing literally hundreds of shows all over the world every single year. How do you manage doing so many gigs all over the world? Like what helps keep you sane?
You know what's so exciting? When you say that, the first thing I think about, and this is where my head is at, every time I think about what I'm going to be doing is how I could be connecting it with the Aokiverse membership community. Okay, so when you say like hundreds of shows all around, I'm like, that means that there's 100, like that means there's more possibilities for me to be doing more activations, real world, with people from all different parts of the world. I know that like the Web3 is still, we're still tapping into not, like as many people as I'm playing to, we're not tapping to all those kinds of people. But when we eventually do that, when it eventually becomes to that space, I could be able to communicate and enrich this larger community around the world, which is so exciting. Because it's like for me being in Las Vegas and traveling to Finland, to Australia, to Japan, to Spain, back down to South Africa, it's like I live for it. I live to be around all these different cultures and worlds. And I guess the answer to that, sorry, I got so excited about like how to incorporate Aokiverse membership around the world, but I just fucking love what I do.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean immensely. Like,
well, it shows.
I'm still so incredibly obsessed with my just DJing, playing for people, making music. I go in the studio inspired, excited, extremely happy. I step on stage with a massive smile on my face, feeling so grateful that I have a crowd that's just so hungry, that wants that energy, that wants that experience. And yeah, I fucking love it. I just fucking love, like, just very fucking grateful.
Well, that's incredibly inspiring, and it shows. It shows in all the work you do. Your passion shines through, and I think and it's infectious. I mean, that's part of what I think people really love about you. Okay, so I know time is short for you. We have just two more questions, and then we'll let you go. I know you got things to do. So the last two questions are, first one is, do you remember your first NFT that you collected? You're very, 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 you have this expansive collection now, over 1,000 NFTs in your collection, many, many iconic pieces from some of the top creators out there in the world. Do you remember your very first one?
Oh my God, this is such a good question. Is there a way to track that in my wallet? I mean, there's got to be a timestamp.
There is. Let's
I don't
see.
want to say one and because my mind, I should know this. Can someone quickly do that on my OpenSea?
Let's see here.
Let's find that. Let's investigate. Let's find that out. So like,
I'm doing it for you right now. Let's
oh
see.
yeah,
I'm doing it right now. So, and look, this is according to. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is according to OpenSea, which you and I know can be a little bit
well, you
wonky
know what,
sometimes.
you know what, Naveen, it's the first one. It would definitely be Nifty Gateway because I was launching on Nifty Gateway, so I'm looking back at that time. I don't know if I transferred all my Nifty Gateways over to
Oh
OpenSea.
yeah, okay, fair enough. Right. So right, because you bought something on Nifty Gateway and it won't show up on like your wallet on OpenSea. Because
Yeah,
on OpenSea it says your oldest thing on your wallet on OpenSea is actually a CryptoPunk, but that's definitely not the first NFT you collected. There's no way.
no, it
You know, because
wasn't. I bought a bunch of stuff on OpenSea right after my drop.
yeah.
I
Okay,
think
well
it,
we can
yeah,
circle back to this one. This is
yeah.
like
But
I'll
that's a
do a
good
little
question.
research.
It's really important.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to me, that's part of your journey, right? Like
Yeah,
the Web3 world is like a journey, and you've gone on this incredibly expansive journey, and so it's really fun to know, like, where did you start? Um,
absolutely.
okay, so the last question we have for you today, and dude, thank you so much for coming by our Discord. It really means so much to us. Is where does inspiration come from for you? Again, given all the expansive things you do, you're so many dimensions to your creativity and you just as an entrepreneur and a creative, where does inspiration come from?
It's very easy. It's very simple. It's just everything. So one of the things I've learned in life, and just something I could share with everyone, is just be present everywhere you are. Be as present as you possibly can be because there are gems that are sitting right in front of you that you might not even realize is a gem, and it will just be gone and you won't even realize it. It happens all the time to everybody. And that's why, like, when I think about, I call myself a human sampler. So, what I mean by that is if I hear a sound that's interesting, whether it's like a car going over a bump, I'm like, oh, I like that sound. I'll record it. Or if I see like someone walking in front of me and the color of the jacket has a really interesting pattern to like the color of the pants, I'll take a picture of it. I mean, literally, I try to keep my senses and follow my instincts wherever I go. I said the story before, I remember being in South Africa. I was taking an Uber to a place that we're going to eat, and the Uber was playing some Afrobeat. I was blown away. I told the driver, I'm like, don't stop. I think we dropped off some people at the restaurant because we're already late. I'm like, let's just keep driving. He just kept on playing like his playlist of Afrobeat. And I was a student there learning from this driver about like different Afrobeat songs. And I was looking up the singers and I was trying to book a studio and trying to get in the studio with some of these guys right there like that night. It's about being open and being present wherever you might be and executing. If you're a creator, you're going to execute on that. That's what I do. Whenever I'm in any type of industry, I feel the confidence to be able to be a part of that industry. Like when I got into cards, I immediately hit up, the two biggest manufacturing companies, Topps and Panini, because I wanted to develop my own cards. And in a few months, I had top Steve Aoki baseball cards that I designed with them. It was like with a cake, parallel with like this kind of cake frosting on top of the cards. Whenever I do different things that like really inspire me, I just go in full bore. I learn as much as I can, and I just execute when it makes sense.
So I just want to call out like three pieces of advice that you gave throughout this entire conversation that are just like real freaking gems. Like for everyone listening, these are like three things that are so important. So one is what Steve just mentioned, be present. Like being present is so valuable in life. As you said, there's just gems in front of you all over the place for that can serve as inspiration, opportunities, just opportunities that you may miss because your mind is elsewhere. Your mind is thinking about the past or the future and you're not present. Second thing you mentioned was surprising and delighting. Always surprising and delighting. And I've seen that whenever I've had the opportunity to see your show. It's never the same thing. It's always incredibly eclectic, and there's so many dimensions of the show, the visuals, the collection of music that you want to play that night, whatever was hitting you at that moment. That's part of the experience of going to see a Steve Aoki show. And the third thing, you didn't say this, so I'm kind of putting words in your mouth, but it's very clear, given how you approach things, that this is how you operate, is be fucking fearless. Be fearless and like grab life by, grab the bull by the horns and bring it down and go out there and just like achieve greatness, whatever that means to you in your life. Are those three lessons that you live by?
Oh, absolutely. You nailed it, Naveen. Yeah, I think those are like as you say it to me, it's a refresher to me to constantly do that. And I think with anything, you have to always, you might say something, but you have to repeat it in your head as you move forward. It's like doing positive affirmations in the morning. Like I still do that. I think it's important that like these kinds of communities, it's not just necessarily about the alpha, about what we're getting. It's about just having healthy discourse on just healthy living, and I think the more we talk like this, the more we spread love, the more we spread gratitude, the more we spread like this kind of conviction that we're talking about. It's just you leave with just happier.
100%. Well, Steve, I know our time for this conversation is coming to a close. So before we close, we just want to express our deepest gratitude for you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and spend some time with us here on the Yacht official Discord server and with the Yacht community. Thank you so much for doing that. That really means the world to us. And then two, just want to remind everyone, aokiverse is coming, and it is groundbreaking. It is revolutionary. It is something you should definitely check out. For anyone who's a yacht creator who has minted their yachts, starting on February 12th, you will be able to mint credits that can be turned into passports within the Aokiverse. So stay tuned to our Discord, to our Twitter, our official Twitter handle, and to email for more information. And obviously, if you guys have any questions, please hit us up. We're here. And thank you to the audience. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us for this conversation with Steve. And we hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.